Hi everyone, this is Lynn Wilson at Lynn Wilson Originals here in Mills River, North Carolina, where it's finally hit 70 degrees. I thought I'd come on today, and I was just prepping a piece and thought, well, you know, how exciting would this be to watch? But, you know, I have learned some things over the past couple of years about priming furniture that I thought might be helpful, and also planning a piece. So I want to keep it kind of neutral, and while I don't usually like painting white, I do like the backs of things like china cabinets and bookcases to be white, because I think it showcases what's behind there better, and keeps it from getting too dark. So that said, I also would like to use a furniture transfer. This is the transfer that I'm going to use on it. It reminds me of sort of Palm Beach chic, or maybe even a little bit Hollywood Regency in the style. So the white will be complementary to this green, and then I'm also thinking that I'll probably add some black to it, and a little green, and probably some gold. And I've laid it on its back to facilitate putting the primer on. And this is Dixie Belle's BOSS in white. BOSS stands for blocks odor, stains, and bleed through, something like that. But it blocks all the things that you would be concerned about. And I just put it in a separate cup so that I'm not dipping into my original jar, just in case, you know, gets dirt on my brush. I don't want to contaminate the entire jar. The other thing is I use an older brush. This is a very old Dixie Belle angled mini, and it's very well used, you can tell. But once I've used primer on a brush, it seems like it gets a little bit stiffer. So I don't use my really good brushes. You know, nobody really looks under the shelves, but it's a lot easier to just go ahead and paint the shelf underneath than try to get a really straight line and not get any paint on the back of the bookcase. So, and it's also, in this case, I'm going to do the entire inside of the bookcase in white, which in the past I've tried, you know, just doing the back portion here, and that can be pretty difficult to keep from getting paint on the shelves and on the sides. I have been told that you can take the entire back piece off of some of these bookcases and china cabinets. I have not been brave enough to attempt that. Mine always look like they're pretty secure on there, and my carpentry skills are not so advanced that I'm ready to tackle that. In here that had, you can see it's already got some white paint on there. That's actually white spray paint. I don't like to spray paint furniture. I'm not a fan of spray painted furniture, because I think the beauty of chalk paint is that matte finish that you can get. But I had to put wood filler through the back because there was a crack. Well, it wasn't a crack, it was where the two boards, they used two boards, one on each side, and it's where they met, and over age they've just separated. Over time they've separated and created a space. And one of the things that I've also learned about painting is anytime you have a small surface crack or space, it may not be that visible before you start painting, but particularly if you're going to be painting a light color, it certainly becomes visible. So I put some wood filler in there, and this is the Minwax Sustainable Wood Filler that comes in a little tub. It's the same stuff that comes in a tube, except for I always find that once I've opened the tube, I use it maybe 2 times and then it dries up on me. And the last time I did a piece of furniture, I used a lot of the wood filler on the surface, the top surface, because it had some deep grooves and gouges, and so I wanted to create a smooth surface for my paint. And what I found was that I was using a lot of coats of primer to try to get that wood filler to disappear. It kept showing through. And I don't know if it was the nature of the wood. The wood was cedar, and I think perhaps it was bleeding through the wood primer and making it kind of pink. But I wanted to avoid having to use all those coats of primer, just to cover up a few spaces of wood putty. So I did go with a little spray paint on it, and I figured, well, I'm going to be painting over it with primer, and I'll be painting it with chalk paint. So we'll see how that does. I just used, I think it's Rust-Oleum or Valspar. It's a paint and primer all in one. I used it on my outdoor furniture and had some left over. So I've got a little hair in here. And sometimes the best way to get a hair out is to wait until things dry, and then you can sand it out. I'll stand this up now. You can see how it will be easier to paint the shelves now that it's standing. But I thought it might be interesting to kind of do this project together this week. So you can see all the steps that are involved. I cleaned it with White Lightning, which is a Dixie Belle TSP product that you mix with warm water to get it to dissolve. And it's very good at taking off old dirt and grime. You want to make sure that you get off any old waxes as well, because with a water-based paint, the old waxes will interfere with the adhesion. But there you have it. This primer, you put on one coat, the Dixie Belle BOSS rather, you put on one coat and then allow that to dry, and then put a second coat on and allow it to dry overnight. And by then you should see if there's still any bleed through. And at that point, if you still have bleed through, a synthetic shellac can prevent further bleed through. So put a little synthetic shellac before you paint. Take care. Bye-bye.